Alright guys, so we got a 2003 X5 and supposedly I didn't diagnose the car, they just called me to replace the overflow bottle. Okay, say supposedly it has a hole in it, so it's losing coolant from there, so I'm just hired to do that. I didn't diagnose the car, I'm just here to do the job. So from the looks of it, I haven't seen anything besides just taking up a whole bunch of push pins and whatnot. And so let's begin. Using that, I trust the tool. Take it out. What else we got going on over here? You may want to take out this nozzle because we're going to unbolt or unlatch the air filter box. We're going to unhook this nozzle from it. But I'm only taking this off because it's the first time doing the shop, so I'm going to make it as easy as possible on me. And this is completely shot, I mean literally falling apart. But as I said, customer's trying to sell the car, so I'm not sure it's going to find it. Got two 10mm bolts holding the box. Take them out, set them to the side, take this whole situation out of here, rest it right there. I think that's good enough for now. Alright, I think I got a lot of clearance now. Let me see how I was looking in the shot there. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see what I'm seeing, so let me just make sure you are seeing the same thing here. Alright, so zoom in a little bit there. Alright, so from the looks of it, I'm going to have to take off this clip right here like we usually how it is with the BMWs. Matter of fact, I'm going to take it off completely so I have to lose it. I'm not struggling. I'm going to take off the lower one. Take it out also. Just so we lose it. Another one. There's another one way down there. Side, I'm not sure, but oh, there's another one here too. Alright, this car there. Trying to be ginger, but now these houses at this point in their life be notorious for breaking or even break the radiator, so we don't want none of that. I'm trying to soak it in some WD. Just let it work inside. Hopefully make it a lot less dramatic. Lot less dramatic to remove. That's about it. Soak it in WD. So I'm gonna pause it and wait until this thing has soaked enough, and then we'll get back in here and we'll try to release these hoses. Here's where we are so far. I managed to take it out. As you saw, what I was doing first is just basically lubricating everything, all the hoses, and just basically using this prying tool, something small, and just pry against the hoses very lightly again, very lightly. This is plastic. It'll crack that. I've seen it happen. So pry it lightly, lightly, lightly. Eventually it'll slide off. So in this segment, I'm showing how the old part was definitely cracked. Right there on the corner has a big long crack. And now I'm putting the two side by side just to compare them and to be 100% sure we got the right part before we install. Removing that protective cap that they have on. And here, actually I'm out of the shot, unfortunately. I was trying to explain how at the bottom that locking clip, how does it work, but unfortunately I was out of the shot. But basically, if you come from the passenger side of the bottle, if that makes sense, meaning the closer to the fan at the bottom, if you feel with your hand, you can feel that locking tab. It actually has some type of like a tail or something where you can just kind of pull towards the fan, basically. So when you reach with your hand down there, you feel it, just pull it towards yourself, towards the hand, and it will unlock it, and then you can basically um, release the bottle. Here I'm just using some silicone spray to make sure I lubricate and soften all of the O-rings before I reinstall it. That's just good practice I've learned from old school mechanics. So I'm trying to put the level sensor right now, and I'm realizing it's not going to work. It's putting tension on the wire, so I'm going to have to remove it again, leave it aside, and trying to put this thing in the groove first in a little pipe. And once it's uh, sitting flush and I can hear it click if it does, then that's when I'm going to put the level sensor. Now you can just basically do it by feel. It's going to be at the bottom there. Yeah, here I'm struggling with it. For some reason it was not locking in. Probably came out of the channel, the locking pin or tab. Um, so you're going to see me remove it again, and I'm realizing that the tail that I was speaking about um, has a plastic cap around it that has just broken. So I took the one from the previous bottle, which was a definitely better quality, and that's what I'm putting on right now on this one right here, just to be sure. Uh, yeah. Oh yeah. So now we're about to try it again, and yeah, right about here we're gonna continue with the video. So here I'm just putting the hoses back. So I'm just saving you, I guess, the repetitiveness of it. It's basically just sliding hose on and putting the clips back onto the hose to secure them. Um, I mean, you don't have to remove them completely. I just didn't want them to get lost somewhere. You know, I've lost so many things in this BMW engine base, so I'm not even, so just precautious. Uh, so now it's time to basically fill the system up with fluid. Besides, yeah, I had to put that indicator or yeah, it just shows you what is full and what is, empty level or low level, depending on that little, the red stick that you see there. So now I'm opening up a valve basically. This will let the air out, and that's how you're gonna tell if you bled the air out of the system, or one of the ways, I should say. So I'm now filling it up with some fluids, H2O to be exact. Um, yeah, so I'm just checking around to make sure I don't see any leaks. Um, yeah, grab my mirror, go underneath, because that's the part you can't really see that matters. Um, just to make sure everything is dry, and it is dry. So we're good on our side. Uh, so we're gonna keep filling it with water. Um, yep, more water. That's it. Until it's full and it's coming out of there. Once it starts coming out of that, we can just close it up now. So now I'm going ahead and start up the car and let it idle for a minute and watch the temperature gauge. You want to have the heat on just so you can bleed air that could be potentially in heated core. And yeah, and just watch your temperature gauge. Make sure everything is cool and where it's supposed to be. Yep. When I started the car, I noticed that the fan clutch was in bad shape. Um, the fan was barely spinning. Definitely not enough air to cool an engine, even at idle. Especially when you just started the car, it should really run high, and then kind of settle down a little bit. But it was really just dragging. So I know whoever's gonna buy the car will have to replace that fan clutch, especially in these hot summer days. Here I was seeing water kind of leaking from the top of the bottle, which I didn't understand where it was coming from. And I realized it was just I guess the overflow that I had earlier when I was pouring in the water. So I'm just cleaning up everything, just making sure I check again and again to just be 100% that, we got to fix. Um, you don't want to play around with somebody's cooling system. So yeah, that's the gist of the video. I hope it's helpful to somebody out there. It's really not a big deal job. Don't be afraid of it. That's definitely DIY friendly. I think the most challenging part of it, or the two most challenging parts of the job, one would be to remove the two hoses because after so long, they kind of are very stuck on the radiator. So the other one, you can just yank it. If it breaks the snout on the bottom, that's no